Perfect. All right. So I have some questions. We can kind of go through them, and we can also just kind of open this up as a conversation, and we can just kind of chat about some of those things. I do want to say, I don't want to limit to like the warehouse stuff. I do want to talk about it. But I have some questions in here that are fun. Like what are you guys doing as an organization as well? Like how else are you supporting the community? Things like that.
Okay.
But my first question, just to kind of get a good understanding, and so people who don't know who you guys are get to know who you are. Can you guys kind of provide like a quick background of who you are, how you started, who you serve, things like that?
As far as our personally or just in the community, what our job is?
Yeah. So through the food bank and through what you guys, who you guys serving, how did it start? Through Gila River Nutrition Assistance Center. How like what
Okay.
as that part of it?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I can start, and then if Godfrey has anything to add. So I've been working for the community for 20 years, and I didn't start this program when I first started in 2002. But eventually I started overseeing the program. I think it was in 06 when the previous director left. And it's always been, the staff has always taken pride in the warehouse, keeping it organized, keeping it clean. So I kind of inherited, a good program. When I came, the only thing that I think that I did to enhance was as far as visually what the warehouse looked like, because it was an old gym, and it literally was like the brick in the inside was still the brick color. It was old. And so I just wanted to make sure that the staff who worked there wanted to go to a nice place. If you work in a nice place, it's so much better. So, over the years, we did a lot of improvement. We painted the inside, the outside, got a new roof. There wasn't a ceiling in there before. It was just kind of open. So we did the ceiling. We paved the parking lot. It used to be gravel. Did some cement slabs for parking and stuff like that. So as far as I know, they've had initially, our primary service is the food distribution program on Indian reservations. And we've had that program since about 1980. And then I believe it was 2006, right when I started, we only did that program. And our former executive director said, we really need to do something for people who aren't on the program, but need emergency food. So that's when our previous executive director contacted the United Food Bank, and we started getting the food boxes. And then eventually after the food boxes, we started getting, the bins of food, the breads, any leftovers. So we actually don't purchase any of your food, but what we do get, we appreciate and we use. So throughout these years, the last 15 years or so, that's how we've worked with United Food Bank throughout the years. And we have within the warehouse, like I said, it was specifically for the food distribution program. But in getting the emergency food, we just have to make sure that we keep that food separate. So that's why you always see the defined lines, this is for, United Food Bank food boxes. And then we have TFAP, this is for TFAP. And then sometimes, Godfrey will get a call, and as far as like anything that's donated, so we know, we have to keep track of, our inventory. So that's why it's really divided, and we can't, intermingle a lot of the foods. So we serve the community through Gila River. I don't know if you know, but Gila River consists of starting like the border of Coolidge, and it goes all the way to Levine. So it is pretty wide, and we just will serve anybody, whether they're community members or not. So that's like the background. We've been doing it for about 15 years. I don't know. Do you have something to add, Godfrey?
No, like I said, you pretty much covered everything. But as for me, Chris, probably back in like '08, '09. And, you know, I remember this building, but like Mary said, it was like an old gin or something way back when. And I know a lot of people, when they come in, you know, they say, oh, I remember here, or a lot of people have worked here. You know, I have had family that worked here too. So, you know, and like I said, you know, the commodity foods has always provided a service for the community. I remember growing up, we used to get the commodities, and kind of just like, you know, as I got older, you know, we kind of went away from it. And then, like I said, when I started working here, I was like, wow, they still got it going on here. So, I mean, you know, it's just like I said, it's been a while. Like Mary said, you know, it started back in 1980. You know, we had one of our workers that worked here since, you know, everything first started. So, you know, she was here for heck a long time.
41 years.
Yeah, 41 years. So, you know, she's been here. And like I said, it's been here for, you know, so long, providing services for our community and our people, you know, and, you know, a lot of people rely on it. So just like the food bank, you know, that service is provided as well. So, you know, that is another thing we've added. And, you know, people are appreciative of it. And, you know, it does come in handy and it does help them. So like Mary said, you know, it's good that, you know, we partnered and, you know, everything is going good. And a lot of people like the services that, you know, we provide and, you know, things that we get from the food banks. So like I said, you know, Chris, you know, it's been a while. And, you know, like Mary said, when I first started here, you know, we did have a dirt parking lot. You know, a lot of things have changed, you know, from coming from that to the paved parking lot, you know, the new paint on the building, all the AC units were redone, you know, the walk-in cooler, the walk-in freezer, you know, those were also fairly new as well, you know, and like I said, you know, a lot of things that we do here was provided through our, you know, you guys, USDA, you know, and it does help the people. So again, you know, we appreciate it and we thank you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, just to, for further clarification, I think I have an idea of what you guys are talking about when you say food program and stuff like that before you came United Food Bank, but just for some of those who don't, and that's just for clarification, that food program before you partnered with us, is it, and it's probably still is it that FDPIR?
Right. It's
Yeah.
food distribution program on
Right.
Indian reservations.
Yeah.
And it's an alternative to SNAP.
Yep. Perfect. Awesome. Well, thanks for clarifying and providing some background on you guys. I mean, that's really helpful. I mean, I learned some of that, and I'm sure lots of people who don't know who you are, what you're doing, you know, especially up on the north side, maybe some people aren't realize that we have food distributions down here, right? And so it just kind of helps them get to know you guys a little more. So thanks for that. Well, cool. Talking about warehouse and stuff like that, let's just kind of dive in as a conversation. What's some best practices that you guys use to manage the warehouse, to keep it clean, to staff it, to, I mean, anything really. I mean,
I think that I'm going to let Godfrey take most of that. The only thing that I want to say is I'm really a firm believer of do it right, have things the way they're supposed to be, and practice it daily rather than just trying to do something because you know that you're going to have an audit or a monitoring visit come up. So make sure your food is up, away from the wall, your temperatures, cleanliness. So I like that. I just, you know, I try to tell, you know, my other programs too, you know, practice all the guidelines or procedures because, you know, they're there for a reason. So anyway, I'll let Godfrey go over though how he manages, because Godfrey was a warehouse worker since 2008, I think. And then last year, our warehouse supervisor retired. So Godfrey took over that position. So now he's the warehouse supervisor.
Yeah, Chris, like Mary said, I was a warehouse worker. I started back in '08 and been here 13 years now. And like she said, I've, you know, had two previous supervisors. Daryl was the last one. And like Mary said, he did retire. I did step up, and a lot of the things that we do here, you know, our supervisors instilled that in us, you know, and that was the cleanliness, you know. And as for me, I'm kind of like a clean freak, so I have to have everything clean. So again, here in the warehouse, I tell the guys, keep the place clean, clean up after yourselves, and like Mary said, we do have people that are coming in, and we treat it basically like a house. You keep your house clean, and and with everything going on, when we had the pandemic, it was like twice as bad, to where like, you need to clean this, we need to clean that. So again, that's where all those practices came from. And again, like she said, we do our first in, first out, try to get everything, what we get, from the new stuff to the old stuff, and we put them where we need to be, get those out. Those are the best practices as warehouse, as far as warehouse. Safety, we do a lot of things, forklift wise, just all that. I've been with warehouse previously before this. I worked for the property and supply, and it's the same thing, basically. So again, like I said, I've been in warehouse for a while now, so I know the ins and outs.
The other thing I think that help is you have scheduled cleaning. So obviously you clean after yourself, but we have a day at the end of the month, whereas specifically we know we're going to scrub the floors on that day. You sweep all the time, but on the last day of the month, you got to get the scrubber out and do the warehouse. I mean, you have to take time to do, those things, and not just when it looks crappy. So.
Right. No, yeah, definitely. Like, scheduled cleaning is definitely something I think some agencies could definitely put on their to-do list, right? I mean, that's something that they probably had no idea of. They were just like, oh, I just come in, I sweep the floor, and it's good to go, right? But they don't realize that they should take that extra step and that extra care.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, cool. And oops, sorry, getting phone calls. Perfect. Lost my train of thought. So the best practices are obviously some things that you guys are saying, FIFO, things like that. Things that even I'm checking for when I come in is like the FIFO, making sure food's off the walls, pests are visible, stuff like that. But take me through, like, what is, like, when a truck shows up, what is the first thing you guys are doing?
I'll let Godfrey answer that since he does it.
Well, when they first come in, they have paperwork, which we have to check and verify. The numbers are the same on the seal. And if they don't have that seal, then, we don't accept them. And once we check that seal and make sure that we do cut that, we also check the temperature, make sure that temperature is within range. Then we have them back up into the docks, unload the trucks, make sure that everything is still packaged, nothing is smashed. As you do your inspections, as you, bring in everything. Just like anything you receive, say if you go into town, you make sure you check everything, your produce, what you're buying, make sure the boxes, the cans aren't smashed. I mean, those are just, practices in general.
100%. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And, I will say, Godfrey, like you said, you've been doing this since 2008. So, I mean, these are things that are just like, and you're in my mind, these are like, oh, these are simple practices that people should just be following anyway. But some people who are just getting into this stuff tomorrow, they're not going to know a lot of these practices. They're going to, just kind of think, oh, I can just do whatever I want. Right. And so that's why I ask these questions, and why I have you guys kind of walk us through, like, this. And I know it sounds like you said, it's like the simple, like, yeah, just check to make sure it's going first in, first out, making sure things are into temperature. Right. But sometimes we have those agencies that are like, I just get the delivery and I hand it out. Like, they don't know that they have to store it the right way, or check the temperature, make sure cans aren't dented and things like that. So I do appreciate you guys coming on and just sharing it all. I mean, you're definitely hitting every point. So awesome. Well, what challenges have you guys faced over the years to get to this point? I'm sure it wasn't easy.
I don't know. As far as challenges, I mean, I think everybody's had challenges the last 2 years. As far as COVID is concerned, you have all the typical COVID challenges. And like Godfrey touched upon, it's just not during the time of COVID. It wasn't just cleaning, it's extra cleaning because of the sanitizing and, stuff like that. And, we're still on mask mandate here, and it's just a lot of stuff that goes with the with that. We've actually closed, we had to close our store that we had with, because we couldn't let, our clients in. So it was kind of like a drive up where before they would get out, and get their own stuff. But we're slowly moving back, to our, what we call normal, but it's still, we still have to follow our safety practices. As far as challenges, I guess, I don't really know as far as like the food bank is concerned. We did have one challenge, I think at the very, very, very beginning when we just, advertised that we were having food boxes, and they thought it was the COVID extra money food boxes. And so Godfrey had this line up and down the street, but then they realized it was just our regular boxes. But it's up and down a lot, who comes in, who doesn't come in. You would think during the time of pandemic, more people would come in, but more people were staying home. Then again, outside of food bank, you look at our other programs, and as far as a challenge, and this is not associated with food bank, but our program FDPR has really taken a hit on our caseload because food stamps are giving more money now. So they're going to food stamps. So our caseload on that program is down. So those are the only really challenges I can think of. Godfrey, do you have any other challenges?
Not really. Like you said, it was just with the COVID as far as, and then like that, like you just bring that up. That was pretty crazy with that. People were thinking that the food boxes that we were giving out, were just for COVID.
Like extra stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, it was very crazy. But other than that, like Mary has touched on, the SNAP, that's pretty much just basically, what is our biggest challenge? And, which like she said, a lot of our numbers have gone down. So hopefully with this opening up that, we'll be out there doing outreach, trying to get all the people to come back. And, a lot of them are just scared just to come in, just, due to the COVID, we hear that from our clients as well. So that was probably basically our biggest challenge.
Yeah. And so you mentioned staff. I'm assuming there's like staffing is in like the warehouse. So how has that impacted your guys' scheduling or anything like that? Is that kind of a big challenge of like you guys are working longer hours or,
I think, it was a challenge at the very beginning of COVID season
Mhm.
because we were, this program was considered to be an essential service. So in the height of the pandemic, our staff were still ordered to come in. But during a brief period of time, we had certain employees who, if they were considered high risk, were mandated to stay home. So it really put a strain on the other employees who are, good health. They had to come in and work. And it kind of, after a while, to me, it was like, it messed with our morale because I kind of felt like, wait a minute, we have 1,500 people that are staying home, or almost 2,000 that don't get to come to work, but we have to come to work, So it was kind of like we were getting frustrated because, they could come in, they could help, staying at home, getting paid, So that was the only thing. I think it was a morale booster with the staff, but I think one of the good things, and it's different with us because we have paid staff. We're not like a food bank who, they're volunteers. So, I can understand if they're a volunteer, they're like, I'm volunteering my time, but we work and, we get paid to do what we do. So I think that might be, some of the difference too, as far as how things work.
Yeah, definitely. Well, perfect. Thanks for sharing some of those. And I know sometimes it's hard talking about challenges in general. Some, people don't like to talk about it, but you guys definitely talk about them and talk about how you overcame them. And you're obviously showing it. When I came out in February, you guys had this great operation running. I met some of your team. The whole warehouse was clean. There's people backing in, getting some food and pulling out pretty quickly. So you guys definitely have pushed through it and overcome that adversity, right? So, well, is there anything else that you guys are doing within the organization or things like that you're supporting with the community? You guys answered a lot of the questions that I had about the warehouse. If you have additional things that you want to talk about the warehouse, please do. But I also want to hear about some other fun things that you guys are doing, and maybe some best practices that you're doing for your community that other people can do for their communities and stuff.
Do you have anything, Godfrey, that you want to share first?
Just basically, doing the home delivery for our elders. That's another service that we provide. When they're not able to come in, we do have services that we do provide for them, the home deliveries.
And that's CSFP, right?
Each district.
No, for not just CSFP. We do home delivery for the FDPR.
Cool.
Yeah.
So that's just one of the services we provide.
And I think just generally, our tribal community, the government really supports our programs. So we're lucky that we do have a budget that we're able to purchase these things, and a lot of the improvements to our building are from USDA. We got some money from the CARES COVID, to do improvements on our warehouse. That's how we got the electronic gates going on the front and the back. And we're currently still working on trying to get covered parking. So yeah, the support of the community really helps.
Awesome. Well, good. That's good. I'm really glad to hear all that. Cool. Well, I only have a few more questions. One of them is, would you guys be interested if contacted maybe by an agency, if another agency read this or watched this video and was like, oh, I really like some of those best practices. Can I connect with them to pick their brain a little more? Would you guys be open to stuff like that?
Godfrey?
Yeah, that's fine with me. I'm always willing to help out, other agencies, like I said, always been open-minded, and, if anybody needs help, we're here to help.
Cool. Yeah,
we have had a couple of agencies in the past come and just check out what we're doing and, share ideas. So we've had that in the past happen.
Awesome. Yeah. And I'm hoping that this kind of helps increase that some more. Obviously, we want to make sure people are going safe. So to reiterate, you guys are still in mask mandates, and you guys are trying to make sure you're staying within the 6 feet apart and trying to be safe there. So we do want to iterate that if anybody is interested in coming to talk to you or touring the warehouse, that those mandates and those things are still in place at your guys' location.
Right.
So that I'm just make sure I repeat that on the recording, so that way people, if they rewatch it, they know. Perfect. Good to know there. Next one is, how can others get a hold of you guys or your community? Are you guys on Facebook? Are you on Instagram? Are you guys kind of social media anywhere? Or how can people kind of keep up with updates happening at your location?
Well, we don't have any social media. We were told just there's a community Facebook, and they're the ones that are holders of, that social media. But I have heard, and it's funny that you asked, because that's on my to-do list to ask, because I've heard other departments now have been opening up like a Facebook or something. So that is one of my on my to-do list, to see if I can open up a Facebook for the programs. But yeah, right now we aren't on anything. We have a really short blurb on the community internet site, just with basic information. But other than that, yeah, they'd have to do it the old-fashioned way, giving us a call.
Hey, and that's totally okay. And if you guys, once you get to that point of making a Facebook or any other socials, please share it with us. We'd love to follow you guys, making sure that we're, all staying connected.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's all I have. Do you guys have any last minute things you want to add in? Best practices, something you want to share with everybody?
No. Do you have anything, Godfrey?
I think we pretty much covered everything. Like I said, if they need to contact us, we're always here.
Yeah. Has the agency, United Food Bank, are they looking at because I know we used to go to an annual training, and it just kind of reviewed the warehouse practices. And I think that was a pretty good review. So wondering if you guys are starting those up again.
That is a great question. I can definitely follow up on that and probably put that answer in the newsletter when I send it out. I'll also send you guys an email if I got something that somebody tells me. That's nothing I've ever heard of. I also only started just last April, so about a year ago.
Yeah.
And those probably stopped if they were having those before then even. So
That's when Deb used to be there.
yeah. Oh yeah. She was
Yeah.
actually, I'm in her desk.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I know we're doing tours of the warehouse and stuff like that again. That's kind of coming back, but trainings, nothing I know of, but I definitely reach out and figure something out.
Yeah.
So, cool. Well, thanks guys. I'm gonna
Okay.
stop